about. And Deborah, I want to talk about what's going on there in just a moment. But first of all, you were caught up in this Iranian attack on Israel last night. Give us a sense of what that was like.
Yeah, it was really hard to comprehend what was happening, to be honest. I've never seen anything like it before. We heard the reports that Iran had launched its missiles. We knew that it was only going to be a matter of minutes before they started raining down here on Israel. And we came outside, so in terms of the geography, we're in northern Israel. Behind me is Lebanon, but over in that direction is Syria. And we actually just found ourselves, it seemed, effectively under the flight path of at least some of these missiles. We could see them coming in waves. They were over our heads. You could see sort of streaks of orange really high up in the sky. I think that was what was so surreal, the fact that we were basically, it sounds strange, but we were quite safe here, relatively speaking, from the actual missiles, because clearly their intended target was much deeper into Israel. And then we could see these orange balls of fire, which were the Israeli air defences, and there must have been aircraft or other much more very powerful missiles, because a lot of the intercepts that we could see were high up in the sky, and you could just see this explosion as the intercepts and the missiles collided. And then it paused for a little bit, and then it started again, the second wave, and again we saw the same thing happen. And then after that had finished, suddenly, for the first time in this area, the sirens sounded, and that was when presumably a Hezbollah rocket, which is not as powerful as these ballistic missiles, was then fired in this direction, and we had to it happened while we were live, and we just had to stop what we were doing and run for cover. And again, that's a reminder of this multi-front war that we're in right now. The fact that Hezbollah in Lebanon behind me is also firing on Israel, and you can probably hear the booms at the moment, and that is there's more there now. That's the outgoing Israeli rounds launched into Lebanon. Since we've been here over the last hour, there's been a steady drumbeat of artillery fire yet again. So if Iran thought that its missile strike against Israel was going to deter Israeli forces from pressing on with their offensive inside Lebanon, you can hear more outgoing, then the indicators here are that that's absolutely not the case.
Yeah, and on that point, Deborah, we've just been hearing from John Sparks about these reports of what is being called intense fighting close to the border there with this ground incursion.
I mean, I don't know if you could hear that, but absolutely, it feels a lot louder today than it did yesterday. And before I actually got to this position, I was a bit further away, and I heard what sounded like a multiple rocket launcher system. It was like just a more persistent thud of artillery fire going out. And since we've been here, there's been a lot of artillery fire. There's also been a number of sirens too, which would indicating Hezbollah fire coming in this direction. So it definitely feels a lot more active today than it did yesterday, obviously just from our vantage point. Clearly we're not on the other side of the mountain range behind me. There you can hear the outgoing now, which is where this what Israel is describing as localized, limited, targeted raids, but clearly raids against Hezbollah positions, and the Hezbollah fighters have said that they're going to resist.
OK, Deborah, thank you very much indeed. Deborah Haynes there.